Wukong is tearing up the charts, and it's driving game journalists absolutely insane. This Chinese-developed action RPG has sold over 10 million copies in its first week, hit 3 million concurrent players, and helped push Steam to a record 37 million users online. Why? Because it's a damn good game that doesn't give a shit about ticking diversity boxes or pandering to the woke crowd. You've got clowns like Shannon Liao from Inverse.com writing hit pieces, claiming the game has no content and is just riding on Chinese nationalism and anti-woke sentiment. Newsflash, Shannon, maybe it's selling because it's actually fun to play, but I guess that's a foreign concept to games journalists these days. The best part? Shannon couldn't even make it past the tutorial level before writing her review. She's out here talking about how there's no side content when she hasn't even seen 90% of the game. It's like reviewing a book after reading the first page and calling yourself a literary critic. But it gets better. This genius tries to flex her Chinese language skills, acting like she's some expert translator. Turns out she couldn't even read basic Instagram comments in Chinese a few months ago. Talk about cultural appropriation, huh? Shannon's review is a masterclass in how not to be a games journalist. She claims Wukong is a small game that has no variety. But anyone who's actually played past the first chapter knows that's complete bullshit. The game opens up like a damn floodgate after the initial area. Let's break down her incompetence, shall we? She mentions fighting a snake boss and a bear boss. Congratulations, Shannon. You've completed the tutorial. That's like playing the first level of Super Mario Bros. And declaring there are no castles in the game. She whines about a lack of side content but missed the 3 bells in Chapter 1 that unlock a secret boss fight. In Chapter 2, there's a massive beetle boss that gives you an item to negate wind effects. But Shannon wouldn't know that because she was too busy rushing to publish her half-assed review. The kicker? Shannon claims she spent 12 hours in the game. Either she's lying through her teeth or she's so incompetent at playing video games that it took her half a day to clear the tutorial. I'm betting on both. This is the state of game journalism, folks. People who can't be bothered to actually play the games they're reviewing, rushing out hit pieces to push their agenda. It's no wonder gamers don't trust these clowns anymore. They'd rather watch a YouTube review from someone who's actually finished the damn game. Also, Shannon's supposed Chinese language skills, man, this is where things go from embarrassing to downright insulting. She has the audacity to recommend Chinese voice acting for more flavor and ambiance, acting like she's some kind of cultural expert. But here's the kicker. Just a few months ago, Shannon was posting on Instagram about how she couldn't understand basic Chinese comments. She wrote, "Maybe one day I'll know what this says, and my Chinese is still not good enough to read this." Yet somehow she's qualified to judge the nuances of Chinese dialogue in a complex video game? Give me a break. This isn't just about Shannon being bad at her job, it's about the dangerous game these journalists play when they misrepresent cultures they don't understand. They're so eager to find something problematic that they'll twist and mistranslate to fit their narrative. Remember the IGN hit piece from last year? The one crying about sexism in the dev team? Actual Chinese speakers called out their translations as complete bullshit. But did IGN retract or apologize? Of course not. They just doubled down on their ignorance. This is why context and cultural understanding matter. What might seem crude or offensive to a Western journalist could be a common idiom or joke in Chinese culture. But these hacks don't care about accuracy or cultural sensitivity. They just want their outrage bait. Facts be damned. Black myth. Wukong isn't just a game, it's a wake-up call to the entire industry. We've seen this pattern before with titles like Hogwarts Legacy and Stellar Blade. The woke brigade throws a fit, tries to cancel the game, and then watches in horror as it sells millions. These journos are terrified because Wukong proves, once again, that their influence is waning. They can cry about lack of diversity all they want, but gamers are voting with their wallets. And they're voting for good games, not forced representation or political agendas. Look at the numbers. Wukong's success makes failures like Concord even more embarrassing. Concord, with all its diversity and pronouns, lost 60% of its already tiny player base in no time. Meanwhile, Wukong's raking in hundreds of millions of dollars. This disconnect between critics and audiences is getting impossible to ignore. These journalists live in a bubble, thinking Twitter outrage translates to real-world impact. But normal gamers don't give a shit about whether a game ticks all the right diversity boxes. They care if it's fun to play. The industry is changing whether these woke journalists like it or not. Developers are starting to realize that pandering to a vocal minority on social media doesn't pay the bills. Making good games does. And if that means being labeled anti-woke by some hack writer, so be it. Wukong's success is a middle finger to the entire game's journalism establishment. It proves that you can ignore their demands, focus on making a great game, and still come out on top. And that's what's got them running scared. You know what's truly mind-boggling about this whole Wukong fiasco? It's not just that these so-called journalists are butchering their coverage, it's that they're doing it with such smug self-righteousness. They genuinely think they're improving the gaming industry by nitpicking diversity quotas in a game based on Chinese mythology. Game journalism is a joke, and Wukong just exposed it for the world to see. These clowns aren't interested in actually reviewing games anymore. They're too busy searching for problematic content or trying to cancel developers over decade-old tweets. What we need is authentic, informed criticism, not this surface-level bullshit where reviewers can't even be bothered to finish the game before spouting off their hot takes. We need people who understand the cultural context, who can appreciate a game for what it is, not what they think it should be. The Critical Drinker's reviews resonate with so many people because he's not just pointing out plot holes or bad acting, he's calling out the fundamental disrespect these adaptations have for their source material. That's what real criticism looks like. But instead, we've got hacks like Shannon Liao, who couldn't tell a side quest from her own ass, trying to lecture us on what makes a good game. It's no wonder gamers are turning their backs on traditional game media. We're sick of being talked down to by people who clearly don't even like video games. Look, the success of Black Myth. Wukong isn't just a win for game science, it's a win for gamers everywhere who are sick of the woke bullshit infesting the industry. It proves that a great game can succeed on its own merits, without pandering to Twitter mobs or diversity quotas. To all you gamers out there, don't let these hack journalists tell you what to think. Play the games yourself. Form your own opinions. And when you see a review bitching about lack of inclusivity in a game about a mythical monkey king, laugh it off and move on. The tide is turning. Wukong's success is just the beginning. So keep supporting good games, keep calling out bad journalism, and for fuck's sake, keep having fun. That's what gaming is all about after all. What do you think? Are we finally seeing the death of woke game journalism? Or is this just another battle in the ongoing culture war? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Nova out.